Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you. Welcome along to tonight's Meet the Management, and they're here now. We're very delighted that last week we announced our new management trio, which of course saw John Still return to the club for the first time since 1989. Of course, at a time when a litre of petrol cost 41p, a pint was 98p, and the Tories were arguing about Europe. So some things didn't change over that 30-year period. But we're delighted to welcome John, Hakan, and of course Simon Wharton, who is very familiar to you. As well as those of you here in the Spitfire Lounge tonight, we're also going around the world, courtesy of Stones TV. So to all those who are watching online, a very good evening to you as well. We've got some questions that have come in, which we will fire at the top table during the course of the evening. But would anyone here in the room like to kick us off with a question tonight?
I'd like to ask a question to the top table. I read in the Kent message, I don't know whether it's true or not. The name Jake Cassidy was mentioned. Was there anything there or not? Or was there a sort of
No, you're absolutely right. We've made an inquiry. Talks are going on. At this particular moment, I couldn't give you a definite, but there've been talks over the last couple of days. And to my knowledge, and there is a person here that might even be able to tell you more than I can, those talks are ongoing to try and find a conclusion to the situation. Thank you.
Before I go to the next person, there's one that's actually coming online and says, if that weren't to be successful, have you got some irons in the fire in terms of a centre forward? Have you got some other options available to you?
Yeah, we have other options, but at this particular moment, I don't know that I would explore them options because it's actually easy to sign people. It's more difficult to sign the right people, and I'm not sure that the other options would be the right options for us at this moment. We're still inquiring. They're very, very difficult. The hardest people to find, with the greatest respect, are forwards. They're the most difficult. People very rarely let good forwards go, particularly this time of the year, second half of the season, for a variety of reasons. Some people are in with chances of promotion, some people battle the other end of the table, and if you've got an asset that's a forward that's decent, people are reluctant to let them go. But we've got one or two other irons in the fire. We've had a look at one or two people here in training that we've brought in from other clubs. Other clubs have said we can look at one or two who are probably a little bit younger than I want to bring in at this particular moment, but I'd sooner not rush in and get someone that I'm not sure is right. I'd sooner not do that. I'd sooner keep looking for just another week or two and see if we can not get the right one, not anyone.
Welcome back, John. It's nice to see you, and welcome to the other two who have been kind enough to come along and help us. Thank you also. John, have you any idea of what type of football that you're likely to play on a 3D pitch? A lot of people feel that we use the long ball far too much. We've got a flat pitch, it's there for playing football on, but we don't seem to use it enough. Have you got any thoughts on that? Thank you.
First football I want to play is winning football. I want to play winning football, and it's really difficult sometimes when people. It's a great question. It's a question lots of people ask, and I always say I want to play winning football. If I've got Manchester City players, I'm going to play like Manchester City. If I've got ragged arse Rovers players, I'm not saying I've got to play like ragged, because I can't make people better than they are or better than their potential. I think we can help them reach their potential, and when we find that, we can find the best football that they can play. If you have people in your team that are not great passers, they're not great passers. You know, you can make them a little bit better, but you can't make them better than their potential level is. I mean, with the greatest respect, I think I've had 3 training sessions since I come back, and all I'm doing at the moment is assessing what players can do, what I feel that they're capable of. We've had players in from other clubs, from league clubs that we're looking at. I mean, we've brought in 3 players in this last couple of days. I want to... We're where we are in the league, with the greatest respect, that tells me that we're not good enough. It's, you know, it's not, you know, a secret, is it? We're not good enough. That tells me we need to try and get better players, more accomplished players. Can we do that? I don't know, but we can try. You know, players that come in, can I guarantee are better than the ones that maybe we let go? I can't. But in the short space of time that we have, I've got to try something. Some will work, some won't. Honestly, I will make no guarantees, because the amount of time that we have to rectify our situation isn't great. But we're all going to try. Hack, Simon and myself have been on the phone constantly. Whatever club I've been to, I have a scouting system that comes with me that has found some wonderful players. Even in my time back here in 1989, I brought, because I won the league and just left, and I brought Warren Barton here, that went on to play for England and Newcastle. And that scouting system is still in place, and it will find players, but it might not find players today. You know, it's a gradual process, and all I want to do is try and find the right players for this club, to play the right football for this club, to win enough games for this club, to give the club a better future than where we stand at the moment. And in a year's time, if you ask me this question, I'd be better able to answer it, because I'll know the calibre of players that are here and what they can accomplish. And if, just to add, and I want to say this, if we can win games by playing fast, attractive, attacking football, that's what I want to do. If I've got to lump it up the front and chase after it and win games, that's what I'm going to do as well, because I just want to try and stay up this year.
Okay, thanks for that question. Another one we've had in online. Blair Turger, when might we see him back in your starting 11?
The update on that is about 4, maybe 5 weeks. That's the update of him being injury-free. Being injury-free and fit to play, we're going to have to wait and see. I don't know how long that will take. I really don't. I can guess it will take him a week or 2 around that. I don't even know how long he's been out. I wasn't here. How long?
December, end of November.
So if he's been out since the end of November and he's now 4 or 5 weeks away, he's going to need some sort of training, proper training, to get him up to speed. And if you don't do that and you put them in too quick, they break down with another injury. So it's important, I think, that we give it the right time. Better to have him, I'll be hypothetical here, better to have him for 10 games fit than 15 games where he plays and don't play, plays and don't play, plays and don't play. So that's what we'll have to assess.
Yeah, what's going to be the actual goals of the 3 of you? How's it going to work? Is one of you going to be in charge of actually picking the team and the others in charge of training, or how's it going to work?
Right. I'm in charge of picking a team. I'm in charge of training, I'm just saying this. I'm in charge of running the scouting system. But can I just tell you, no, it's important that I say that, but Hack, who's worked with me before, will be doing all of the things around me that help me do that. He will have a massive say in how we train and who plays. Short term, that will be me with the greatest respect. But I don't take training without discussing with both people. I don't pick a team without discussing, and I'll say this with the greatest respect. We lent on Simon for the Leighton Orient game. I said how I felt we were. But if we'd have won, it would have been me. No, I'm being serious. Simon has much better knowledge of the players' capabilities than I do. And I lent on him, but it is my responsibility. When the team's picked, it is my responsibility. But gradually, the input from the two around me will be just as vital as me. I mean, Hakan's worked with me before. We've argued over teams before. I think this, no, I think that. I think this, I think. And in the end, we have to come to a decision, and the decision might be done mutually, but it's the manager's responsibility. Of course it is. But I never, ever underestimate the opinions of the people that work with me. And sort of short term, I think it's important that the players see one person that they feel is doing it. But gradually, as I've always done it, they will find that the people that work with me are just as important in their decisions, just as important in the way they see things, and just as important as when we're out there training to get their opinion across as well as mine. And it won't conflict because we talk about it all the time. Whenever we might disagree on certain things, but when we go out there, we will agree that this is the way we're going to go between us. And it might not be exactly what he wants, it might not be exactly, and I might not quite feel the same, but these two might feel strongly about it, and I would back that 100% as they would back what I think 100% if it's that strong. But it's a strong team, this. I'm telling you, these Hack's worked with me at Luton, he's played for me. If people look at where I've been managing, it's very unusual that I don't have either someone that's worked with me before or played for me, because I have really strong views about what I think is important, of how we play, how we train, how we look after ourselves. I'm very team orientated. It's not about an individual, it's about a team. Hack has picked that up himself, and that's one of the reasons that I brought him here, because long term nothing would delight me more than him becoming the manager. Absolutely, because he has all the capabilities of that. I knew Simon as a player, not great, but I knew him, but I'm not stupid, and I know he's, from when he's done a little bit on the coaching side here, that he's ambitious to do that, and his views I found very interesting. And to say, nothing would please me more than these two sort of pull the chair away from me and kick me out the door and take the baton in their hand and take the club back to where we all hope it will go, which is forward.
Another quick question online. This is for Hakan. He says, apart from getting to work with John again, which of course is very much a big bonus, what was the appeal of this job?
Well, firstly, the appeal was John. Secondly, when the club got promoted, when John left, I came here on trial. I was offered a contract, I think it was Keith Peacock and Tommy Taylor at the time, and I regret not signing to that team. That was a team that John left behind. I went to Barnet, and I've always wondered what it'd be like to come back. And when I've come here and I've watched games and I see the fantastic support that this club has got and has, it's unbelievable. And the sky's the limit for this club, in my opinion. We've been fortunate enough to work at other clubs, but the support that you guys give this club is immense. And the one thing I've learnt with working with John, the team is not just the team on the pitch. The team is the team around the whole club. The people that clean the turnstiles, the people that are in the office logistically, you, the supporters. That's the bigger team. And I think this club has got a massive plus because of the supporters here. And it's an unbelievable sort of football club with great tradition that have won things, and I think that was the biggest pull really. When John said, do you fancy this? I said, yeah, I do, because many clubs at this level haven't got the structure that Maidstone United have got, and it's a massive pull. The people behind the scenes are fantastic, everyone pulls together, and I think that will only help the club achieve what it wants to achieve in the future. And you know, it was a no-brainer for me, honestly, especially when I've come in, I've seen games, And a team that's not doing so well and you're still attracting over 2,000 supporters is an unbelievable achievement, and long may it continue, and hopefully we'll be up the other end of the table one day and we'll get more supporters. But I'm going back years now when John left and that team was there, and I sort of always had in the back of my mind, I wish I'd signed for Maidstone. I went to another Amber club similar to this, got a bit of success, but there's always been one regret that I didn't sign here. So I've got my chance, I took it.
Hakan, you've had experience in Essex and I think the Barnet recruitment. What is the situation for us in Maidstone? Are we sort of towards the southeast, attracting players, and what is the difficulty of
It was funny because we were just talking about that in the office, and John's. I've worked with John before. I've known John a long time. If you look at the history of the players that have come to John and gone on and sold on to other clubs, you know, we always look. It's very important, and I know I do it at this club. You've got to know the levels above, the levels below. We were talking in there that we've got the whole of the South East covered with our contacts. Attracting players to this club, I don't think it's going to be that difficult. It's got to be the right player, like the manager said, at the right time. So we've already started our network. We've had players in. We've got scouts out on Saturday looking. And when John decides the right player is available for us, and we know it is, then I don't think there'll be a problem in that. But it has to be the right player for this club. You know, personalities and characters are very important when you sign a player. Sometimes it's not about his ability, it's about the whole package that you get. So we'll be looking at them closely before we make signings.
Back to the online questions. This one's for Simon. Oh yes. There's a test of diplomacy skills. What's the players' reaction been in training, and how are they finding the new leadership?
That's a
good question. Listen, we've all been around football long enough to know that changes of managers happen more often than not nowadays. That's just the way the game is. As a gaffer and Hakan have made clear, you're either on board or you're not. I've been in this situation before as a player, when new people come in with maybe different ways to what you're used to or different ways to what you're comfortable with. You have to buy into it. If you don't, you find yourself out of the team or out of the club. That's basically as it is. We get paid to play football, we get paid to win games. We haven't won enough games, hence the reason why new people come in. So as a group of players, we have to know and we have to understand that we have to change what we've been doing because it's not been working. Bottom line of it is. And those who buy into it and those who kick on, I'm sure will stay around. Those who don't, well, that's just the harsh bottom line of football. No matter what level you're at, no matter what type of player or personality, age, whatever you are, that's just the harsh reality of football. If you buy into what the manager and his staff want, then you stand a good chance of hanging around and doing well. If you don't, then you don't. It's simple, really.
Anyone else in the room? Right on that side. We'll go over here.
Hello, do you have any strikers that you want to bring in?
I told you that.
Shouldn't you be in bed? You've got to go to school tomorrow. Have you got to go to school tomorrow? There's lots of strikers. You're looking at me a bit fierce, so I'm going to be very careful. There's lots of strikers I'd like to bring in. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. We're going to have to look really, really deep and wide and to try and find someone that A, will want to come, B, that we can afford, and 3, it has to be the right one. Are we looking every minute of the day? We're looking at different names, at different clubs, at different people. I have other people out there that we know that are looking around as well for us, and we would like to think that we will get one. But as I said earlier on, seriously, it isn't a case of getting a forward. It's getting the right one, because sometimes you only have one roll of the dice. I don't know if you understand that expression, but sometimes, and if you roll 2 dice and the older people will know this, you hope to get 2 6s. If you get 2 6s, you've had it off. It's not easy, but we are looking, and as soon as I get one, I'll let you know.
Well, I'll walk over the side of the room, which is a long, long way. 3 new signings today, John, you've announced. What can you tell us about those?
Sean Donnellan came to me at Dagenham. He was terrific for me. We got him on loan from West Bromwich Albion. He played in the side there that got into the playoffs, and we lost to Forest Green, who won promotion. He's a cultured defender. He's quick. He's very bright. He played in Div 1 for Walsall. He's been at Yeovil as well. He's been away from home, as you can understand, as a London boy. He's been away from home, living home for a long while. I think he's 22. He's always been a player that whatever he's done since he come on loan to me, that has rung me for advice, as is his dad, who was a former player that I didn't know great, but I knew. His brother also played for me at Dagenham, so there's been a good connection there, and he wanted to come back nearer home. I've convinced him, because he had other options in the league, and I convinced him that if he comes here and was to help us get out of trouble, I think that there will be lots of people that would say this is someone for us, and then he can have a choice about what he does. And I think that just coming back home, coming to play for someone that he's familiar with and understands the job that I want him to do, I think he's a very good player. So, as I say, I know him inside out. Aaron Davis, we've got on loan from Fulham. He's captain of their 23s. He's highly regarded there. I saw him play the beginning of the season. I've seen him play before last season. I see him this season because we played Fulham in a pre-season friendly and he caught my eye. I think he's a very talented young man, very well thought of there. And Fulham were good enough to allow him to come here and sort of give him some what I call proper football, men's football. So we're delighted with that. Ethan Ross, who's been the goalkeeper here, whose loan was up, I think today, his loan was up. We looked at a few options. Gary Phillips, who is one of the goalkeeping coaches at Crystal Palace. I had a conversation with Mark Bright that looks after all of that side of it, and mentioned the goalkeeper that I'd seen play there to him, and he said yes, they'd be willing to loan him. We spoke to Gary Phillips, who played with Hakan. He's a goalkeeper, he's a goalkeeping coach. Gary is someone I've known for 30 odd years, who recommended him highly. We needed a goalkeeper, so we've brought him in to replace Ethan. So they're the 3 players that we've brought in. We are currently, like as we talk now, talking to 2 or 3 other players. The club have been very good in terms of helping me to bring in. I've got to stick as close as I can to the budget that we have, and I understand and respect that. We have got a little bit of leeway, not an enormous amount, but the club have been very, very good in giving me a little bit of leeway. So I am hoping that we can perhaps find 1 or 2 more, and one of the 1 or 2 more will be a centre forward for this young man.
Just to say, on Saturday at Leighton Orient, we saw a box-to-box player come on for his debut. First of all, have you ever had a game interrupted by a squirrel before? Secondly, what deficiencies in the squad did you learn from Saturday's game?
I've had a dog stop the game. I've had a woman streaker stop the game. I've had 2 women streakers stop the game. Same time. I don't think it was you. But I've never had a squirrel. But I've had a dog and I've had a streaker, and 2 streakers, as I said. Deficiencies. You know what? I worked with the players one day before that game, and all I said to them, you've got to walk off after the game, you've got to look in the mirror before you leave the dressing room and say, I couldn't have worked any harder. And they did. The team, thank you. The team isn't good enough. It's not. That's where we are. The team's not good enough. And hard work only takes you so far, and ability only takes you so far. You've got to have both. You've got to have enough ability and enough hard work. You know, an old friend of mine, who Hack knows, was a boxing trainer, and he used to take some of my players when they were injured to his gym. When I say a boxing trainer, how many world champions?
6, 7 minutes.
So 7 world champions. It's top class, top class. And he always used to say to me about when boxers go in the ring, if you ain't fit, you get beat. If you ain't fit, you get beat. And if you are fit, you still get beat if you're not good enough. But if you're going to get beat, let it be because you're not good enough, not because you're not fit. Well, these boys give everything they had, so they took my admiration. If, for whatever reason, they're not quite as good as we would like them to be, I can't do anything about that. I can change them, which is part of the job that you have to do, but I can't criticise them because you can only play to your limits, and these boys played to their limits and they've trained to their limits. They've been very good. But you are supporters and you see the game and you see more than I see. And what I've learned over the years, best team wins the league, worst team comes bottom because you play 40 odd games. So whatever way you disguise it, can we make them a bit better? Possibly. Can we make them more tactically aware? Possibly. Can we make them braver in possession of the ball? Probably. Can we make them work harder? No, because they're working to their limits. And at the moment, the limits, that they're not good enough. And you know what? I get no pleasure in saying that because, as I say, I've worked with them and they've done everything that I could ask. And in fairness, when we had a talk, when we first come into Simon, he said they're hard-working lads. And there's nothing there that would make me think otherwise. And you know, I respect, you know what, I've had some really outstanding players, like I'm talking about outstanding people who've gone on and played for their country, played in the Premier League. But I don't think any less of the boys here that have worked their socks off than I would those people, because you can only play to your limitations. And if your limitation is that, it's very rare you're going to get that. You might get that now and again. But they've worked their socks off, but we need better players. And we don't need 1 or 2 better players. We need lots of better players. And our mix of players is wrong. I'll tell you how wrong it is. We have a game on Saturday, we have no forwards that can play. Not one forward at the club can play. One's suspended, one's played in, or 2 have played in a competition, cup tied elsewhere. Well, when you go into things, you've got to have a bit of foresight to see who you're bringing in and what they can contribute. And as we stand here, or sit here at the moment, we actually have no forwards at the club that can play Saturday. So what can I say to the other people that play, or people that may play forward, is go out and do your best. In a way, the game between Leyton Orient and the next one forward actually gives us 2 weeks to do groundwork on trying to find the best solution to our problem. Do I want to win the game Saturday? Of course we do. But if I had to pick a game not to win, it would probably be that game, because we need to get points in the league. So I've got 2 weeks. We've got 2 weeks to try and find the best players that we can get here to give us the best opportunity of getting as many points as we can. Can we do it? Honestly, I don't know. Honestly, I'd love to go, yeah, we can do this. Honestly, I don't know. Are we going to be any better with what we do than we have been? I don't know, because it isn't about players you bring in. We might bring in better players, but the mix has to be right, and we have no time to do it. It's not like having pre-season. Will the club get better while we're here? Yes. Whatever happens, this is the first step to go forward. And you know what's going to make the biggest difference? Anyone know what's going to make the biggest difference to this taking steps forward? I'll tell you. It's all you lot. All us lot. We won't do it. The players won't do it. You won't do it. But together we can do it. We need, when we lose, we lose. But let's get behind the team, because we've got to build this club from a really bad position. Let me tell you what I think. I think there should be a statue of Jay Saunders outside this football club for what he's done. I do. I really do. For whatever reason, he's not here, and we've got to pick the baton up. Forget who's gone before us, we can't influence that. But to pick that baton up, it's on a downward start, it's downwards, everything is downwards. And before you go forward, you've got to stop it going down, and that's what we're trying to do, is plug gaps, and that's all we can do at this particular moment. We're having to loan players. I don't want to loan players. I'm not a lover of loan players, but we need loan players now. Will we have loan players going forward? Yes, we will, but not too many. I want people that are Maidstone players, not a Fulham player, not a Tottenham player, not an Arsenal player, a Maidstone player. I want people want to come and play for Maidstone, so we get a bit more out of them. But at the moment, we're going to plug gaps and try and get to the end of the season the best we can. And when we get there, whatever league we're in, we will rebuild this club. But we need all of you backing it 101%. Never critical, never moaning. Just behind it. Because if we do that, if we do that, we will rebuild it. But we can't do it. I'm telling you, it's not possible in football these days. You, us, and the players that we bring in will rebuild it. That's what we need.
Simon, Zach would like to know, what's the step up been like for you progressing from the player into the player coach role?
It's been an interesting few weeks. It's been an interesting few months. This season's not going to go down as my favourite as a professional footballer. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. But yeah, it's been eye-opening, to say the least. I think, personally, from my point of view, with regards to that, I've not changed an awful lot. I think you probably have seen that I do speak generally more than I do anything else, so that's not really changed an awful lot. You've got to learn how to deal with people, I think, a little bit more than you would do on the other side. Just as a player, you learn to deal with people in situations that you're not used to. As a player, like I said, I've not pat myself on the back. I've been captain of 7 clubs, so I kind of know what I'm doing with regards to that. So yeah, I mean, for me, I knew it was never, not new, and I did know, it was never going to be a long-term thing, obviously, what I was doing in between. I knew that it was a case of trying to steady the ship, so to speak, which is a lot easier said than done when you get in a position that we were in. I've been at a club before where we started on minus 15 points, we weren't getting paid, and we were going on strike every other week, so this has been pretty easy compared to that. But yeah, it's been good, and even just from my personal selfish views, it's been good for me as an experience moving forward in my own career. It's not been good from the point of view as we're struggling in the league, and I've never ever been relegated in my career, so long may that continue. But now in a sick perverted sort of way, I've kind of enjoyed it, to be honest. I think you can probably tell by how I've been after games, during games, in here, out there. It's been a good experience for me, and now to be able to work with probably the most experienced manager around, and Hakan, obviously, who's been there, seen it and done it as well, is going to be another great experience for me. And I'm coming in, it's like starting school again. I'm learning every day. I didn't learn every day at school, I was never the brightest, but football terms, I'm quite bright, believe it or not, that's one thing I've got going for me. But yeah, it's like going back to school. I've got to come in and learn, as of all the players. But yeah, I'm starting to pick up little things, and it is something that maybe has been brought to my attention that I'd quite like to do going on, but I am only 31, believe it or not, so hopefully the boots will stay on for a little while yet.
John, it's been 30 years since the last time we met. Can I just say the pair of us just haven't changed a bit?
Oh dear. Do you want these glasses?
Can I just have the three of you's reaction to the Leighton game, after the game, the crowd response to the three of you? What did you think about that? Because I thought we played quite well, but there seems to be some kind of positivity after the game that I haven't seen for a long time. How did you react to that kind of reaction?
Me personally, I was absolutely shocked. Not shocked at the support that we got for the game, because I've been at this club before, so I know what it's capable of. And I've seen Maidstone games in a not too distant past, you know, where I know that they are good supporters. But I was taken aback by it, to be honest. I really was. I thought it was fantastic. I can't find. I thought of a word after the game when I was walking off and they was still cheering. I thought of a word and I can't think of it now. But you know what it was? It's one of them where you think to yourself, I have to do something for these people. I have to try and find a way. I have to work as hard as I can. I've got to push. And I think I have a way of doing things. I think I'm really approachable with the staff. You know, I always have a smile on my face. I say to these, you've got to have a smile on your face. You know, I try to do it properly. But at the same time, I'm saying to myself, off the pitch at Leighton Orient, that I have to do whatever it takes to try and make it happen for them supporters. And that's exactly how I felt. That's exactly how I felt. What do you think?
It was the reason why I came, really, because of the support. Like I said, for a team that's not doing so well in this league and still attracting over 2,000 supporters is unbelievable. And you're not going to find that at any place probably, but it's just amazing. And I've seen it time and time again. And from the brink to where you've come in a short space of time, and the support that you've had hasn't really changed. It's got stronger and stronger and stronger, and I think it will only get stronger. But the support was amazing. I didn't expect anything but, because I know from years gone by it's always been like that. And you're saying it hasn't been like that for a while, but this football club has got a great tradition of having support like that many years back and now. So for me, it was just the norm. I don't know what it was like before, but it was the norm. It was fantastic.
You played?
It wasn't a surprise for me. Obviously, I've been here and I've played in recent games, or whatever been said on the side. And the support, and I've said it, and I'm not just saying it to get a tick against my name, but I've said it all along, the support here, the team's probably not deserved it at certain points. We played, I think the game that stood out to me was Havant and Waterlooville. I think we lost 5-2, we was horrific. And at the end there was 300, whatever it was, stood there clapping us. Dover away, we were terrific, lost 3-1, we shook hands with us. I said in an interview afterwards, I've been at teams where you lose 3-1, you're near the bottom of the league and you stand on the pitch for 30 minutes because you don't want to walk past anyone for fear of what gets thrown at you. But like we said, and we're going to keep alluding to it, we will only get out of this together. The support that we've had, I've said it and keep banging the same drum. I think we're the 5th, 6th highest supported team in this league, and for us as players and as staff, that's got to be a massive incentive not just to give you people something back that you deserve, but to keep building. If we're the 5th, 6th, we're second bottom from the league, if we keep improving and this club keeps getting bigger and bigger, I think like John said, the sky, and Hakan said it earlier, the sky is the limit for this club with us all together and all pushing forward, because the groundwork and the foundations are there for everybody to see. I mean, teams must come here and wonder what's going on when they come, and we've won one home game all season, but yet we get 2,500 fans, and not just that, but the support that you give us has been fantastic. And from a player's point of view, I can only say thank you, but words don't mean nothing. 3 points on a Saturday at 5 o'clock or 10 o'clock on a Tuesday is what's going to be our biggest thank you to you lot. And as long as we stay together and we keep building the relationships that we've tried to build in recent weeks, and I hope you can see that we're trying. That's one thing that I guarantee you personally, and as a squad we will always try our best, and if that's not good enough, then it's not good enough. But one thing I promise you personally is we will always give our very, very best, and you've given that to us, and like I said, we'll be grateful, and hopefully between us it'll end in a positive at the end of the season and we can all celebrate and have a party.
We of course have an academy here at the club. Once you've perhaps got the first team all settled, will you look to that academy and see what's in and amongst that?
100%. I've already spoke to the guy that runs the academy, and I've already said to him that once we get up and going, I want your best players, the players that are showing the most, to do some training sessions with us, and that will help me see what they can do against men. Because the biggest thing I think with young players isn't necessarily how good they are. I think it's a transition from boy to man that makes I think that's the key. The transition from boy to man. And that has nothing to do with age, because I've had 18-year-olds that are men, I've had 28-year-olds that are still boys. Seriously. And you probably know from your own children. Seriously, because I know from mine that age and how they are about things don't necessarily go hand in hand. But for me, if any of the young ones show enough that they come with me to do training and they can stand up to the physicality of what you do, we'll push them all the way. I think it's really important that we do that, because I think there's nothing better for supporters than homegrown players. Football isn't like that now, unfortunately. When I was growing up, I was a West Ham supporter, and most of the players that play for West Ham live within 10 miles of West Ham. Now they don't live within 10 countries. It's from all over the world. People now, it is, and that's all over. And if you look at the top level players, how many youth team players that have come through at Manchester City play for Man City? I think one. Fogden plays now and again. How many of them play for Manchester United? Rashford, and I think there's another one that's McTominay. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen now. You get players from all over the place now. Them teams get them from all over the world. We have to get them from all over the country, because it's easier to travel. People are happier to move, where years ago they wouldn't move. But you know, your own players, homegrown players, you've got to look there first, and we'll do that. We'll look there first.
Please have you back. Do you, well, it's probably going to be an unfair question, but do you envisage making any changes to the team captain? Or will it happen at the moment?
Can you hold on 1 minute?
Yes.
What do you think? What do you think? Because you know him better than me. I don't know him.
There we go.
I don't know him well enough at the moment, but he does.
Well, he wears his heart on his sleeve like this man does, and I like that in a team. But, you know,
I'm sure John won't mind me saying, but he did ask me this question before the Leighton Orient game, and it was my opinion that Will deserved to keep it. He's another. He's a player that, like you said, wears his heart on his sleeve. As a captain of a team, a club, you don't have to be the best player. Like I said, I was captain of 7, so proves that for me, right? No, Will's. I'm not going to go into what's gone on in previously in the season because we're looking forward now. But the short version is, even in my short tenure, I gave him it, we gave him it because we felt he deserved it. And his character, and he's still young, he's still learning, he's by no means the finished article as a person or as a player, but he is a lad who will give you every single little thing he's got, every minute of every day. Again, that's all as an older player or coach, however you want to look at it, as members of staff, that's all you will ever ask out of your players, that they give you every little single bit of them, every single bit of the day. As a person, as a player, Will has done that, and yeah, he deserves to keep the armband, and he's taken it on, and it's brought him out of his shell a little bit, because believe it or not, he's not the loudest. He's a giant, but he's not the loudest. But yeah, can't get a word in. But yeah, no, he deserved it, and he kept it on Saturday, and it's something that I think can bring the best out of people. Yeah, and no, that's it, and fair play to him. He's had it, and he's took everything on board. He's in charge of the fines lists and making sure everyone's on time and doing a bit. So two things that you don't realise come with it. It's not just wearing an armband, there's little things, and it can make a player or it can break a player. And I think in Will's case, it's going to be the making of him, hopefully.
Thank you very much.
Question, if worst case scenario, should we get relegated this year? That's life, that's sport, isn't it? And you rebuild, you work hard, you make stronger, like perhaps talking improving the money. But are you got any sort of like desire to stay full time? And if so, does that affect the sort of players you're looking at for next season?
At this moment, I couldn't answer the full-time bit. To be honest, it isn't something I've discussed with the club really. That would be my suggestion. If I'm asked that question, that would be my suggestion, because there's so many players that leave Football League clubs, Premier League clubs, at the end of a season that want to still train full time and be players, and I think for a progressive football club, that is the way to go. I can't answer the financial side of it, but I do believe that is the way to go if you consider yourself a progressive football club, and if your ambition is to get back into the league you've come out of, but to go forward, not just stay there, because I as I said, I've already said, I believe this club can grow. I really do. I really believe it can grow, and I think that staying in a full-time capacity is a plus. I think it's a plus to aid that. That's how I feel. Yeah, but it won't be my. I might have an influence on it, but it might probably not be my decision. Well, it won't be my decision. But there is a person here that might be able to answer that. But you were
Right, the last bit of it I can't really answer. The last bit of that question you can't answer, but that's for another day. First of all, we don't want to get relegated. We're not looking at that at all. If it was the worst scenario, and it did happen, that's why we've gone down the route that we've gone with John. I think what we've got in John, Hakan and Simon is what you used to have in me in the old days, is a vast amount of enthusiasm, passion and knowledge. It's something that a lot of us don't think about. You might all think out there that it's an easy job what they've got to do. You may think that. I don't know. It's a very, very difficult job. If we were to go down, I think we'd try and stay as we are, training 3 days, and I think we would just have to rebuild again. Take a few deep breaths and rebuild again. We got here, and I'll tell you all this, when we first planned this, something like 8 years ago, we planned to be at this point in 10 years. We got there very quickly in 5. So, in answer to that question, I hate to think of what we're talking about, but we would definitely stay full time if we could, and stay with the team we've got.
Just the reason I asked it was because obviously John's coming for 18 months.
Yeah.
I thought you might discuss that should that worst case scenario happen, John was here to rebuild the club.
Yeah, we mentioned it. I think we mentioned it for about 15 seconds. It's not something. There's not something that's on. It's definitely not on our mind at the moment. That's where we are at the moment. It's enough trouble as it is.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, we've done quite well. We've gone through an hour without 3G pictures coming up, but here it is. John, your thoughts on 3G, and do you think it has a future in the Football League?
Oliver. Phone Oliver.
If I'm going to be really honest, I'm not a big fan. I'm not. But you have to understand that like a lot of people here, not so much the younger element, but a lot of people here brought up with slide tackles and things like that, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. Does it have a place in football? Of course it does. It's got to. They use it in the Champions League. It's got to have a place in football. Will it be allowed into the Football League? I haven't got a clue. It's not my decision. If I had to vote, I'd vote yes. I'd vote yes. But that doesn't mean to say that I'm a great lover of it. But I just think that it's got to happen. And I think for me, there's two reasons why. Some clubs, longer term, won't be able to exist without the income from the pitches, for academies, and for other events that people can do. And I actually think that when they made it available for people to use in the Champions League, which is the biggest club competition in Europe, if not the world, I think that says a lot. I really do. I think if you was to ask 100% of footballers, do they think it? I think the majority, I don't know what majority, I think majority would say grass. But there'd be some that say, yeah, we're happy with it. It's really difficult. I think it's a personal thing. As a player, which is many years ago, I'm not sure I'd have perhaps liked it. I think people that have had injuries. I had 2 players at Barnet that couldn't play on plastic. Medically, they couldn't play on plastic. So I think that when you sign people, you have to be sure that they can play on the irregular, and there's no reason that they can't. But some people's injuries perhaps have had bad injuries, and they don't think it's advisable. Really difficult. But am I happy to play on it? Absolutely. Am I happy for it to become into the Football League? Absolutely. And the reason being that level play on it in the Champions League. So I think, listen, progress in anything is difficult for some people, but progress is progress, and we can't stop progress.
Just to say to you all, these 3 gentlemen, I think, I don't want to agree with you yet, but I think we're in safe hands. Yeah. I really do.
Thank you.
I think I'd like you to stand up, all 3 of you. I'll tell you why I'm doing this. I've now fallen very low in the pecking order. I want to get this chance. What I'd like us all to do is to put our hands together, thank all these people for coming on tonight and putting this up, because I thought it was going to be snowed off. When we've said our thank you, I've got one quick little story to finish on, if that's all right. Yeah?
Right. Thank you very much.
A quick little story just to finish on. I think the evening for me has been very interesting, it's been informative, and I think it's been a good evening. Yeah? When John Still came to our football club, he transformed it. Although I'd given him a good team, to be honest.
No, you did. You did.
I'd given him quite a good team, but he transformed it and took us into the Football League for the first time. And there's 1 or 2 in this room and can remember the experiences, which weren't all good ones, of going to all those Football League games. But before we got there, to give you some idea of the relationship that John and I have always had, he uses a term called prickly, which I don't quite understand what that means. But he uses it quite often. We're playing in a huge game. We're going to Kidderminster Harriers. It's a massive game. If we win this game, we're almost going to be top of the league and go. In the week coming up, we've got a star player, David Memmott, who's got an injury. And we go to the game, and John makes the decisions. He's the manager. But like he says now, he will confer with the people with him. At that time, I was the person who used to say, what do you think about this? Occasionally, anyway. He's going to play Memmott. Memmett's injured. I'm saying to him, how the big can you be? Him. But he said, he's playing. I said, he can't play. He can't play. I said, he's injured. You don't play injured players. He said, he's playing. So I'm up. I'm up upstairs now. I'm looking down. He's on the bed. We come on. The game's going on. Free kick. 15 minutes in. Memmott comes up. 1-0. I sort of got my programme about here up in the stand. The game goes on. Corner kick. Memmott in. Bang. Right on the money. 2-0. Pull the programme a little high. Programme's nearly over the eyes. I can't remember if it was a free kick or something, but he was involved in 3 things. Bang, we go 3 up, right? So I've now pulled the programme over my eyes. The bench, somebody, I don't know who it was, it's got to be John. And Memmott shouldn't have played. I've gone, Bill's gone to the toilet! I was absolutely mortified. That is how he is. He won't do as he's told. He was right again. We won the game 6-3, wasn't it?
6-3.
Did anyone go to that game? Yeah, it was a cracker, wasn't it? 6-3. But it's all part of the game. It's lovely to have you on board.
Thank you.
We'll all be working as hard as we can. Thank you all for your support. And thank you for coming on this evening. And thank you to Ian once again, who always does a wonderful job. Can we have a little applause?